Hey everybody, welcome to the Upstream Ag Insights video edition where I highlight some of my favorite stories from the Upstream Ag Insights newsletter that comes out weekly. This is for the week of July 12th, 2020 and is the 26th edition. My name's Shane Thomas. So we start out this week talking about AgTech unicorns in the AgTech space and why there's so few that are scaling, IPOing, and that sort of thing and exiting. And so some of that comes down to a lack of scale in general when it comes to being able to access a large number of customers, being able to successfully scale in a cash flow neutral or a cash flow positive way, or acquiring customers in a way that doesn't hinder or negatively affect their unit economics. Lack of product market fit, or small markets in general when it comes to the number of buyers that would be out there looking to buy a large ag tech organization. But then even for the farms where we have very small niche areas for very specific products, which hinders scale and the potential opportunity with some of them. Even getting into some of the commoditization. So some of these organizations are competing head to head with a number of different organizations, and they're being commoditized. They're not able to increase that amount that they're capturing, decreasing their valuation, decreasing the amount they're worth. And so really interesting topic. I've received a lot of comments today from this specific topic. So I think that's a good one to read and one of my favorites of the week. And then I touch even on expanding markets and how when we look at Uber and Airbnb, when they really launched, they had a smaller total addressable market than what they have now. They've really enabled people to travel more cheaply or not be afraid to travel based on the cost. Same with Uber, they've increased the opportunity in the markets beyond what taxis tackled. And so that's the question around why haven't we seen that in ag? When will we see that in ag? And when might we see that in ag? Next up, talk a little bit about one of my favorite topics, ag retail. So there's a good article out of Purdue the last couple weeks. I think it's 10 days old or so, but they talk about the types of ag retailers getting into omnichannel, which would be physical as well as online presence, so like a Nutrien, direct to farmer, which would be FBN style, and then the online marketplace, which might be an agro club or a commodity ag, for example. And really, I talk a little bit about some of the different considerations and strategic thought processes that these organizations or retails need to be considering as they think about this space and as they think about progressing their business. And then another article that really tied in well was by an individual out of India who talks a little bit about high touch, low touch retails and paid and non-paid retailers and where they kind of position on a 4x4 plot. So that's a cool image that I think a lot will find very interesting. Next up was not an article, but really an image on the most recent 150 crop protection molecules that have been discovered, which actually dates back to 2004. And so I just did a little bit of analysis around it where out of these molecules, 38 were herbicides, 51 were fungicides, 42 were insecticides, and 19 were others, so like nematicides, for example. Really interesting to see the amount of emphasis or the amount of molecules being discovered that are fungicides and insecticides. And then I broke that out by the main 5 crop protection manufacturers, BASF, Bayer, Corteva, FMC, and Syngenta. And you can see that 4 of them are very closely aligned, but Bayer actually has had a more numerous number of molecule discoveries over the last, call it 15 years or so. Really interesting, just broke it down by the type of crop protection segment, and you can see who's had some strength in certain areas. So Bayer's had some emphasis in herbicides and fungicides, FMC's done well in insecticides. So really interesting visual to look at when it comes to this week's edition. And then I talk a little bit about drones and farming, which I've talked a little bit about before, but really framed it around the Gartner hype cycle, which has the innovation trigger down at the bottom. Then we reach the peak of inflated expectations. And so when I think the innovation trigger, we're probably talking 12-ish or so years ago. From there, things really ramped up. People got excited about drones. Everybody was going to have one. Everyone was going to use one. Satellites weren't going to be around. That didn't really come to fruition. We didn't necessarily see that. And you'll actually notice in one of the articles, I believe it was from Ag Funder, where they highlighted some numbers that drone investment actually peaked around 2015. And so that's where I would call the peak of inflated expectations was. Since then, it's been a bit of a slide down to the trough of disillusionment where people really realize that, hey, maybe this technology doesn't have quite the fit that we thought. And so when you think of the different regulations involved, how manual drones are, battery life, all these different things started to come to reality and come to the forefront. And a lot of people decided that maybe these aren't going to be as good of a fit. But as new technology has helped with automation, there's been a lot of work on the regulation side of things. Some companies like Grantizo are really emphasizing getting around this, or not getting around it, but working through it and making it better for the industry as a whole. And so start to talk a little bit how we are just kind of starting to go up that slope of enlightenment. And then another couple components, industry announcements with FMC partnering with Nutrien on one of their digital tools in California, and then Growers Edge with a Series B. The world record wheat crop was grown or confirmed in New Zealand at about 257 bushels an acre, so pretty huge there. So I touch a little bit on that. And then Run Fast, which is an article by Morgan Housel. He talks a lot about the red queen effect, which is from evolutionary biology. But when you apply that concept to agriculture, but more specifically business, it's a great metaphor and something that I think can apply in a really powerful way to how we think about business and progression and all these different concepts, which gets me pretty excited and something that I enjoy a lot. So I hope you'll check it out. You can look at it at upstreamaginsights.substack.com. You can reach out to me at Upstream Ag on Twitter, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. Upstream Ag Insights is the account. If you have any questions or comments, I love hearing from everybody. Questions, thoughts, disagreements, agreements with what's written and talked about. Love having discussions with people that read or are interested in those same agribusiness, ag tech, ag retail topics. So please reach out, and I look forward to hearing from everybody, and I hope you all have a great week.